Welcome to Vida's Real Estate Learning Videos, presented by Vida Real Properties and Services, offering services to buyers and sellers in the Denver metro area in Colorado. My name is Rogelio Rodriguez. You can visit us at vidarealproperties.com. So in this video we present reading the residential contract to buy and sell real estate, specifically in the state of Colorado. Major points we're covering: finding the contract online, structure of the contract, and reviewing the benefits of understanding the contract. Alright, so first we have to find this contract. Well, let's start off with old friend Google. What we're looking for is the Division of Real Estate, and let's go with Colorado. That's what we're going to discuss. So once you arrive at this page, you're at the right page. These are the different services that are offered through the Division of Real Estate's website. You can see all the different things that they're able to govern or have a say in. Now we can go to the real estate contracts and forms, look at all these approved forms, and you can read here exactly kind of what they say and the take from the state as far as using these forms, who can use them and under what section of the Colorado statutes, etc. What you're looking for is not this listing contract. You're looking at sales contracts, and you're looking for the contract to buy and sell residential. That's CBS 1. When you click on it, you should get the PDF form of the contract. So that's going to be 16 pages. So let's go all the way down here, and you'll see 16 pages, page 16 of 16. Okay. So then let's look at the structure of this. Basically, you're going to see, first of all, that this is a approved form. This is a legal binding contract. Seek legal counsel, etc. In the state of Colorado, the state has given permission to licensed real estate professionals to basically fill in the blanks. Anything that's not already listed here, that's going to be under additional provisions, which we'll see towards the end of the contract. They recommend that an attorney review that, or that you'll see here the following additional provisions have not been approved by the Colorado Real Estate Commission. Okay, so you have the introductions and all that. You'll see this lines, that's just the line number. That's just a guide to make things easier to find. The other thing that's very useful is to go back into number 3, where it has dates and deadlines, and you'll see the section and the paragraph where you find the listed item in detail. I like to say this is sort of it's a table of content. It's sort of an accordion of the entire contract. So if you were to expand all of this, you'll get the entire contract except for these items that are listed before getting to number 3. Some of the major points you want to look at. Okay, so who's the buyer? You want this, if you're getting a loan, that it's the same exact spelling of the name that's on the loan. How are you taking title? Joint tenants, tenants in common, or other. You're using severalty or sole and separate sometimes if it's just an individual. The inclusions, the exclusions, all that. These deadlines are very important. The major ones, once you have an offer that's accepted, you need to deposit the earnest money deadline, which is going to be the day after the acceptance. Typically, you're going to apply for the loan right away. So that's typically also the next day, if not the same. And then you move on to the inspection, title commitment, and so on. Typically, the last date on here will be the loan objection deadline, which is the last day in which you're saying either you have the financing or you don't. And so normally this is the last day that's going to be before the closing date. The closing date, it's going to be down here. So What can that be? Well, that can be 3 weeks out, can be 2 weeks out if you're buying cash, 3 weeks to 45 days if you have financing. So the lender is going to tell the agent and the buyer how much time they need to get that loan approval. So if there's assistance financing, for example, there's some kind of third party involvement, that might slow down the process. So that they want to make sure that there's enough time to do this. And of course, as a seller, the seller is receiving an offer, they're going to be paying attention to these dates as well. Okay, so other very important items. Line number 4, purchase price and terms. So this is the offer price. This is financing, earnest money. They should be the same here on line 10, the total. So this is independent of any closing cost. Okay, this is just money towards purchase, earnest money, down payment, that's it. Seller concession, so the seller is going to help out the buyer with any funds that would go in there. The form of the earnest money and where it's deposited. One quick thing before I move on. The MEC, that's the mutual execution of the contract. So that's the date that both parties are now in escrow, that the offer has been accepted. So typically that date's going to be the one that the date that the seller signed the offer. And that's your MEC date. Sometimes agents will have this here, instead of having concrete solid date, they'll have MEC plus 1, MEC plus 10, etc. So saying they mutually executed contract date plus the number of days, and that'll be the deadline. It's typically easier to read it when you have just the date, May whatever, June whatever, etc. There's a lot to cover. There's a total of, you can see here, 734 lines that are on there. It's a lot of legal jargon, a lot of important items, and obviously you need time to really review all of this. So that's why I'm encouraging to get this contract and start reviewing it before you start getting into the process of either buying or selling the property, for a number of reasons, which I'll get into right here next. Quick things just to point out: is this an FHA or conventional financing? So that would be in section 5 here, financing conditions and obligations. The appraisal, association, that's really important. Extended coverage, this is important that for my buyers I encourage to have owner's extended coverage included. It doesn't cost that much more, and so typically the lender just needs coverage for them, but you also as a buyer want coverage for yourself, and it's no big deal for the seller to be able to offer that. So might as well include that. Let me see if there's anything else here. Okay, closing cost. Okay, these are the real estate costs. So we're not talking about the loan cost here. We're talking about just costs associated with just the transaction of transferring ownership, having to do with the closing fees from the title company, taxes, etc. So that's very typical, even if you're buying cash, to negotiate that. Possession, so especially you have a property that's rented, and maybe the possession won't take place until the lease expires, which may be, I don't know, weeks. You don't want it to be months after closing. So once that's established, once that date of possession is clear, you as the buyer is going to want to have anywhere from at least $200 and up per day to charge the seller for failing to deliver possession of the property. As you can see, there's just a lot of things to look into. The attachment, what's included, additional provisions. If you want, as a buyer, maybe they want the swing set, the shed, maybe something that you wouldn't be typical of the contract to assume it's included, to go ahead and put it in here. Maybe seller to offer a home warranty to the buyer. Things like that could be included here as additional provisions. Escalation clauses, that's where agents, this is where we write those kinds of additional clauses. So there you go. This is the just going through and reading, finding that this contract for your review, and just whenever you have time to look over at ease. Okay, so we discussed finding the contract online, the structure of the contract, and now just let's recap the benefits. So understanding your rights is huge. Obviously, that's what an agreement is. You're in a contract to either buy the property or sell your property. What are you agreeing to? So all that is spelled out. Some of it is not something that was a line item which you had to fill out a blank. It was just there. It may get you out of a bind on either side. Maybe you're like, well, I'm not going to sell the property anymore. Well, maybe I'm going to buy it anymore. There's some other factors outside, out of your control a lot of times. Well, looking at the contract, you may find something in which legally you're able to pursue that goal that you may have. And of course, the more informed you are, the less stressful the process will be. Just like anything. So you're not going into the dark and being lost and confused and asking everybody questions. Everything's spelled out on there. There's no interpretation that's involved. Maybe there's, a little bit of the gray areas, but the idea of a contract is to facilitate the process of the transaction. It's not to make everybody's world difficult. It's supposed to be a vehicle or a tool to make it easier for everyone, not the other way around. So yeah, look into it, find it, download it, save it, read over it. Maybe if English is not your first language, copy and paste it into a translating program. Google has a good translator. It's not going to be perfect, but it may be very helpful, and especially with the lingo, the vocabulary that's very specialized, even for native English speakers. So there you go. That's the video. Thank you for watching another edition of Vida's Real Estate Learning Videos.